Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of January 23rd to the 28th. And this one's going to be a bit more Xbox focused for this week's My 2 Cent, mostly because of several stories that have come out on it, including the future regarding Halo, to Xbox holding their first Developers Direct. I want to go over what I did and didn't like or wasn't really mixed or not sure about. Plus, one near the end though, and this one might be political some, is me be talking about how Fox News is getting their, let's just say, their panties tied in a knot over basically the Xbox, including some of their energy saving stuff though. If you're interested in where I got the source of these information though, links will be in the description down below, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cent, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details though. The first one is that apparently there is a release date for the upcoming Life is Strange 2 for the Nintendo Switch though. I never really played the first one, but for what I've seen so far, they seem to be kind of like a point and click type of a game, so I haven't really tried it out though, but it's nice that they have a release date for Life is Strange 2. We also learned that apparently one of the employees apparently left or was fired because of the fact that it apparently seems Activision Blizzard did not like the fact that they were writing, that their employees are doing great or anything like that. It's another issue that Activision Blizzard is basically into right now. So basically, it's put inside Microsoft trying to buy Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard has a whole set of issues, and a lot of it is leadership doing a piss poor job at what they are doing and all. We also learned that Trek to Yomi, a game that was released, I believe, last year for basically the for the I think it was on the Xbox via Game Pass, and I think the PS5 will be coming to the Nintendo Switch next week, which is certainly nice. It's an interesting black and white style of a game, though, with basically paying homage to the old samurai films from the 1930s and the 1940s, though. So it's almost kind of like how Ghost of Tsushima was to a certain degree, though. So it'll be out next week, though. It's worth taking a look at if you get a chance. We also learned that apparently someone claimed to found that their suggestion that there was another Fire Emblem game in the work after Three Houses, though. This has to do with some sort of code name or something like that. Nintendo hasn't really confirmed anything at this time, so we don't know exactly whether this is true or not, and if it is, we don't know if it's still in development or if it's been canceled or anything like that. So we'll have to wait and see if this so-called other Fire Emblem game ever really emerges or not. We also learned that a leaker is claiming that a new 2D Metroid game is in development at Mercury System. This is the same folks that handled basically the Metroid Samus Return remake on the Nintendo 3DS and 2021's Metroid Dread, the supposedly the conclusion of what started with the original Metroid game back in the 80s though. Now, assuming this rumor is true, there are two ways you could look at this. Either A, this could be taking maybe a remake of any of the other Metroid games, maybe Super Metroid or Metroid Fusion, or Fusion to be exact though. Or B, it could be a sequel to Metroid Dread, though. Like I said before, Metroid Dread is the conclusion of what started in the first Metroid game, though. So this could be a whole start of a brand new chapter or a new saga for Samus Aran. But again, like anything, it is a rumor for now, so we'll just have to wait and see if this comes to light or not. We also learned that Mass Effect writer who wrote for Mass Effect 2 and 3 will be leaving BioWare after 19 years. It's going to be very interesting with this person now gone, what's going to happen with the future for basically the upcoming Mass Effect game. I mean, Mass Effect Andromeda, let's just say the idea was good, but it felt like a game that could have been in the oven a little bit more than when they originally launched it though. So, but I mean, right now BioWare's not in a great spot. I mean, Mass Effect Andromeda didn't do well. Anthem did not do very well, to be exact. So obviously, all hands are on the new Dragon Age and the new Mass Effect game. So I would have to say BioWare is really going to have to basically knock it out of the park, to be exact though, with their next game and all. We also learned that Forza Horizon 5 will honor the late Kevin Block with special in-game content and tribute videos though. Supposedly he passed away due to basically an accident and so forth. But for many rally fans or those who racing fans, he's sort of like iconic for a lot of folks, to be exact. So very nice that Forza Horizon, or the developers of Forza Horizon though, are doing something like that. We also learned that Microsoft has ordered Sony to attend an Activision court hearing this summer. This has to do with the FTC suing Microsoft over their acquisition of Activision Blizzard. It'll be interesting to see whether Sony shows up or not, or whether they're legally obligated though. It'll be very interesting to see where this case basically goes. Supposedly, as of right now, there has been no settlement at this time between Microsoft and the FTC though. As I said, I'm not as hell-bent on blocking the Activision Blizzard deal the way the FTC is though, but I don't deny that there are some questions that should be asked in regards of Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard though. And last but not least, we also learned that GoldenEye 007 has now been released this week though. Today is Friday the 27th though, on the Switch Online Expansion Pass and Game Pass for the Xbox subscribers though. It's very interesting to see this iconic first-person shooter get released after like almost 20 years of that this game was only found on the N64, and the fact that a whole lot of legal issues prevented the game from being released or remastered or anything like that. I'm going to be trying it out on both the Switch, since I have Switch Online service, and Xbox Game Pass though. I'm going to be trying out to see how both these versions fare and all though, but it's certainly nice to see this game being released though. One other thing about it though is that I'm kind of surprised that they shadow dropped it or just put out a tweet on it though. My original thought was that this was going to be announced during the Xbox Developers Direct, so to see this not be announced there was kind of a bit of a surprise to me. But either way, it's out now if you have Switch Online service or you have Xbox Game Pass and all. And finally, into the movie and TV side of the My Two Cent though, we learned that supposedly though that the anime based on Nier Automata has basically been paused or put on definitely a hold due to COVID issues, to be exact though. No reason for what the COVID issue might be though. It is a little bit unfortunate to hear that though. I didn't get a chance to watch it. Supposedly there are only 4 episodes, to be exact. I believe it's on Crunchyroll though, but still not necessarily a great thing for that series and all, especially the anime adaptation though. We also learned that Avatar Way of the Water has crossed the $2 billion mark worldwide though. So definitely this movie, it definitely has become a success though. There were some questions of whether or not the success of this will hinge on whether or not Avatar 3, 4, and 5 might happen. Based on what we've seen with the box office though, more than likely we're going to see Avatar 3 and maybe 4 and 5 as well though. I mean, I did enjoy Avatar 2. I think it was a good movie though. It just didn't reach the height that the first one did when that was released back in 2009. And last but not least, we have a report that indicates that Adult Swim has ended relationship for Justin Roiland. If you're not familiar, he is one of the creators of the popular Adult Swim / Cartoon Network show Rick and Morty. He also helped with development of the game High on Life that was released last year though. This all stems from a domestic abuse charge that he is currently facing though. It's also been reported that he has now been removed from the folks who develop High on Life though. Kind of surprising to hear about this, to be exact though. I mean, it almost kind of feels similar to what I remember like decades ago with Ren and Stimpy, which is a favorite cartoon of mine, but hearing just how much of a, pardon my language, an asshole the original creator was, especially towards other people, particularly women. And it kind of makes it difficult to look at the cartoon the same way as before, knowing that the person who created a cartoon you remember from your childhood was just a horrible, horrible individual. So it's very awkward with this situation. Oh, something just happened. Anyway, very awkward for this situation, and it does throw into question the future of Rick and Morty, to be exact, though. Not to mention the developers of High on Life. It throws into question the future of that franchise and any other games from them going forward and all. Okay, with the quick my 2 cent part now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with the Marvel's Avenger game, the game from Square Enix and formerly part of Square Enix, Crystal Dynamics. Now, when this game was originally announced several years ago, to be exact, though, I took this information with a bit of a grain of salt, though. While the idea of an Avengers game was sort of neat, though, some of the information at the time that was coming out, such as a live service and everything, just kind of turned me off in a certain way, to be exact, though. I mean, live services can be hit or miss, but we've seen how some developers can get too greedy with live services, especially asking you to log in like all the time or everything like that. So when the game came out, it was met with a lot of criticisms, a lot of technical issues. Some felt that this game should have been a single player experience, and many felt that was probably what was the case originally. Others was like, they passed over doing another Deus Ex game for this, to be exact, though. And it kind of reinforced the argument of just because you have a popular brand or a popular IP doesn't guarantee that IP is going to be a success or not. And Marvel's Avengers has kind of proven that. Over time, we saw basically, Crystal Dynamics try as much as they can to make sure the game, is up to par or everything like that, to make sure it's actually, try to fix some of the problems, to even adding updates to new characters and all outside of Spider-Man, which currently remains exclusive for those who have the PlayStation version, to be exact, though, to even Square Enix not only admitting the mistakes, but sometimes kind of throwing Crystal Dynamics under the bus and all that stuff, considering that a lot of people feel that Square Enix was at fault on this. Well, recently, it was just learned this week that in a surprise to absolutely no one, and kind of was surprised, and kind of was not really surprised at all, it appears as though Avengers, the video game, will be shutting down, or at least somewhat shutting down, to be exact. In an article from the Verge, though, it reads that, quote, the development of Marvel's Avengers is coming to a close. In a blog post, developer Crystal Dynamics announced that the game won't receive any new updates after March 31st, with support ending on September 30th via IGN. While you'll still be able to play the game in both single-player and multiplayer mode, Crystal Dynamics says it can't guarantee that we will be able to address issues that occur after support end. The last and final balance update will take place in March, and from then on, all cosmetic items, including outfits, takedowns, and nameplates, will be available for free and without the purchase of credits. Any remaining credits will be converted into in-game resources, Crystal Dynamics says. It also provided a chart for the type of resources you'll get based on the credits you have and all. They have the chart to show that, though. Released a little over 2 years ago by Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, Marvel's Avengers dealt with technical issues and lackluster reviews, with some critics saying the game failed to meet expectations. In 2021, Square Enix president admitted the game produced a disappointing outcome and later sold Crystal Dynamics to Embracer Group last May. The studio has since scored a deal with Amazon to work on a new edition of the Tomb Raider franchise. Over the years, Crystal Dynamics added more characters to its lineup, including Black Panther, the Mighty Thor, and Kate Bishop. Marvel's Avengers' last update took place in November and saw the addition of the Cloning Lab Omega level threat mission and the Winter Soldier. Unfortunately, Crystal Dynamics says Spider-Man will remain a PlayStation exclusive. We know this is a disappointing news, as everyone in our community has such a connection to these characters and their stories. Crystal Dynamics post read, we are so grateful that you came on this adventure with us. while users will still be able to purchase used copies of Marvel's Avengers for the PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Xbox One after September 30th, the game will no longer be available to purchase online. So, as I said earlier, this is unfortunately an example of basically just because you have a popular IP or brand doesn't automatically guarantee success. And I think Avengers should serve as sort of a case study for that, though. Combined with the fact that Crystal Dynamics, which is known for single-player adventures, though, I think that this game may have fared much better if maybe it was just a single-player game with some online components, to be exact, though. But the fact that this game is shutting down isn't really that surprising at all. It does make you kind of wonder what this means for, or shall I say, this is kind of a downside with live service video games. You don't have control once they shut down the servers, to be exact, though. And once they're shut down for good and all that stuff. This is one of the downside of always online and live service, especially when you buy the physical version, which basically ends up being when they shut the servers down, you can't play the game anymore. You just wasted money on just like a cup, like a cup holder or a frisbee disc, to be exact, though. And maybe if Square Enix went to another developer that knew about live service games or knows how to handle them very well. Look at the developers who do Warframe, to be exact, though. Perhaps maybe this game would have fared much better or anything like that, but going to a studio that is well known for like single player games like Deus Ex and the Tomb Raider series, though, maybe it wasn't the best pick, to be exact. And given Square Enix's obsession with live service, recurring user spendings, or anything like that, it's just really unfortunate. Don't get me wrong, Square Enix can produce great games, even small ones like the Diofio Chronicles and all that, but there are times when you question some of their decisions, such as live service and NFTs, doubling down on NFTs and all. So, it's really unfortunate this happened, though, but I think a lot of us saw the writing on the wall that was coming and all. So, overall, not really surprised Avengers sort of shut down, though. It's a shame. Maybe if it wasn't a live service, maybe it could have fared a bit better, but we'll never really know, though. Hopefully, whoever takes on the Avengers license, though, hopefully they learn from the mistakes that were made from Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, Marvel's Avengers, and actually produce an actual good Avengers video game. Maybe that will happen someday. But until then, though, really unfortunate for what happened to this game and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with the future of Halo and 343 responding following a report indicating that they may have been taken off the Halo franchise. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video, and for this one we're going to be talking about Halo, particularly its future, or more likely the future of the franchise being under 343 Industries, though. So, as some of you may have been aware, last week there were reports from Microsoft that there was a massive layoff, about 10,000 folks to be exact, and several studios that were hit the hardest was Bethesda and 343 Industries, though. This is a studio that's been handling the Halo franchise with basically some mixed results, though. Ranging from how Halo Master Chief Collection launched at a very bad state and it took 343 Industry a long time to fix some of the problems, to some of the situations surrounding Halo Infinite, mostly on the multiplayer side in terms of content, Forge, and reports of a lot of it being mismatched and all. Unfortunately, let's just say with 343 handling Halo, it didn't get it sort of doesn't always get the best response, to be exact, though. Well, apparently last week there were reports coming out that basically indicated that 343 Industry was going to be taken off of working on Halo or maybe to basically a level of them handling publishing and the lore, to be exact. Well, recently, 343 Industry has responded to these reports, and according to them, they're basically saying that isn't the case, though. In an article posted on by GameSpot, it reads that, quote, Following a large round of layoffs and rumors regarding the future of the Halo series, developer 343 Industry has revealed it is still working on Halo and the Master Chief story. Excuse me. A report from last week stated 343 Industries would no longer make Halo games, instead oversees external partners working on the franchise. This led to official Halo account on Twitter putting out a public response. They said, quote, Halo Master Chief is here to stay, said one of the folks who worked at 343 Industry. 343 Industries will continue to develop Halo now and in the future, including epic stories, multiplayers, and more of what makes Halo great. There were claims about basically story DLC, but some of that there's been some folks who have debunked it, including Jason Schreier, saying that's the first time he's heard of that kind of story before. Anyway, continue on. However, it's still up to interpretation regarding what 343 will be doing with Halo now. Certain Definitive is rumored to be developing a mysterious new mode for the FPS. It's been a rough month for 343 Industry. The studio was hit hard by Microsoft layoff, and head of creator John Staten left the team to return to Xbox Gaming Publishing. Looking ahead, 343 has previously promised bigger things for Halo Infinite this year, including shorter seasons and regular content update. Season 3, Echo Within, is planned to launch in March, for example. So, in terms of what this means for Halo's future, it's this though. I don't think that this whole massive layoff and everything that's going on marks the end of Halo. I seriously doubt Microsoft is killing off Halo, just as some report claiming that Starfield is going to replace Halo or anything like that. I'm not really sure about that. But I will say, though, is this. Clearly, there needs to be a change in the way 343 Industry and Microsoft is handling the Halo franchise going forward. If 343 Industry is still going to handle the Halo series, though, then they need to do a better job than what the current situation is. Right now, the current situation that they've done has been pretty bad. I mean, like I mentioned, we've seen what happened with the Master Chief Collection when that originally launched. We saw what happened with Halo Infinite, though. It just comes off as basically anytime a Halo game is coming from 343 Industry, many feel that 343 Industry can't handle it, and it raises questions of certainly management and whether or not they are doing their job properly or not, though. So hopefully, with everything going on and the reports of restructuring, hopefully there is a major shift and change, because Microsoft cannot continue with this with the Halo series. Halo Master Chief is considered iconic, though. Maybe not on the same level as, say, Mario, who's the most legendary and iconic in its own way, though, but still an iconic character nevertheless. So certainly there's got to be some major changes and major overhaul in terms of how they're going to handle the Halo franchise going forward. I am hoping they do. Hopefully they found their footing going forward, because I don't know how long they continue with how they've handled the 343 Industry, how they've handled the Halo franchise so far, and some of the response some people have had considering their handling of the franchise though. So overall, though, it doesn't sound like, unless something else emerges, it doesn't sound like 343 Industry is going to be taking off the Halo series, though. But there's no denying the fact that something seriously needs to change in terms of how 343 Industry is handling Halo going forward and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one is going to be about the Xbox Developers Direct. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, I want to give my thoughts on the Xbox Developers Direct that happened this week and everything like that. As you probably know, 2022 was not necessarily the best year for Xbox and Microsoft in general. Well, I won't say the Xbox Series X and S flopped or anything like that, though. It just that in terms of release of games and everything like that, particularly first-party games, that did not exactly go well outside of Pentiment and everything like that, because a lot of the games that originally were supposed to come out, such as like Redfall and Starfield, got pushed into 2023. So 2022 was very mixed for Microsoft in general, though. Well, towards the end of 2022, rumors started to pop up that Microsoft was going to be doing sort of like a Nintendo-style Direct, though, that Nintendo is well known for, to be exact. It was then later around January we started to hear that there was confirmation about that happening, that would be happening on basically the 25th of January, though. However, they also responded at the same time for folks to keep their expectations in check, which was probably the smart thing to say and all that stuff. Well, recently they did have the Developers Direct. I got a chance to watch it, and honestly, I would say, this wasn't bad. This was certainly good for them for their first Nintendo style of Direct, though. Some improvements here and there I could see happening for future if they decide to do Xbox Developers Direct, but I will say I did like the presentation, though. In terms of what games they did announce, though, some of the games that were announced was Minecraft Legends, though, showed off gameplay for Forza Motorsport, though, Tango Games showing off Hi-Fi Rush, that was kind of the big surprise, though, some new content for Elder Scrolls Online, and a release date for Redfall and everything like that. So they showed about 5 games, not 4 as originally, though, so it was certainly very interesting, though. Now, in terms of what I did and what I didn't like, though, we'll start off first with what I did like, though. Presentation-wise, I would say it was done very well, though. It wasn't we're interviewing the developers or anything like that, kind of like how supposedly Inside Xbox is done, though. This is more like just getting straight to the point and everything like that. And I think that's really good. I'm glad that they did that, though, with their own style and everything like that. And that's certainly fine, though. It's one of the reasons why I like a lot of the Nintendo Directs, though. While I'm not saying every game they're going to show is going to appeal to everyone, though, at least it's mostly getting straight to the point and showing to you the gameplay and everything like that. So, presentation-wise, though, I think this was very good and everything like that. So, I like how they handled the presentation. I would be down with them doing this kind of style like going forward into the future and all. The next thing you want to point out is the release date for a lot of these games. This was something that a lot of us have been waiting for release dates for a lot of the games that are supposed to come out and all. We did definitely get release dates for a lot of them, though. Redfall, we know, will be coming out May 2nd, as that has been officially been confirmed, though. We do know the fact that a lot of the other games, such as basically the updates for Elder Scrolls Online, will be coming out in June, and Minecraft Legend is set for April 2023, while Tango Games Works Hi-Fi Rush was shadow dropped this week and everything. So it was nice that we got some release dates for a lot of these games. I think a lot of people were expecting that, though. Obviously, Starfield wasn't shown and everything like that, but we know that's going to get its own presentation, hopefully in a developer's Direct, to be exact. And last but not least, though, I think the big surprise for a lot of folks was Hi-Fi Rush, the new game from Tango Games, known for Evil Within 1 and 2, and basically Ghostwire Tokyo, though. When rumors started to pop up before the presentation that indicated that Tango Games was working on a game that probably was more in line with what Obsidian did with Pentiment, being a smaller title, though, not a big one, to be exact, though. And obviously, that's how Hi-Fi Rush is. For what I've seen so far, it looks like a brawler, and many are people considering it close to, say, games like underappreciated God Hand and everything like that. So it's definitely nice to see developers work on some of these AA or smaller titles you normally wouldn't get, though. I'm currently downloading Hi-Fi Rush on my Series S, so I will be giving that game a try and give that game a go and all. But I definitely like the shadow drop, though. I definitely like some of these smaller titles that these developers work on. Don't get me wrong, I would love for an Evil Within 3 or a Ghostwire Tokyo 2 or anything like that, but I have no problems with these AA or smaller titles or even brand new IPs from the developers though. So Hi-Fi Rush definitely, I felt, kind of stole the show in terms of the Xbox Developers Direct though, to be exact. In terms of what I didn't like or mixed or not sure, to be exact though, I would say Forza Motorsport, while definitely looks impressive and everything like that, we don't have a concrete release date compared to some of the other games they showed, like Redfall or Minecraft Legends or anything like that. Other than just a 2023 launch date, we don't really have a solid release date for that game. So that is kind of a little bit somewhat disappointed though. I'm hoping we'll get a more solid release date soon, but a little unfortunate that Forza Motorsport did not get a like a concrete release date. In terms of outside of Hi-Fi Rush though, there wasn't really any surprise or wow factor I got from this presentation. Unlike how sometimes I get that with like a Nintendo Direct, if it's a really Direct done very well though, I didn't really get that as much with this, other than with Hi-Fi Rush though. Doesn't mean that the presentation was bad or anything like that. It's just that if you were hoping for any other surprise drops or anything like that, unfortunately Hi-Fi Rush was pretty much the only surprise or shadow drop that we got though. So it's a little bit unfortunate though, but that doesn't ruin the presentation or anything like that. And last but not least, and maybe this is just me being a little picky though, my big concern about what they showed though was basically I was wondering whether these games are running on Series X and S or PC or both. And the reason why is that we know Microsoft is bringing these games not only to their consoles, the Xbox Series X and S, but also to PC, also on Game Pass and all. And it kind of worries me a little bit because I wanted to know for certain, was I watching the Series X or S version, or was I watching the PC version? And if it's the PC version, is it something that's going to be demanding or not, to be exact, in terms of those who are thinking about getting the game on PC and all? I think my concern of this has to do with what we saw, what happened with Cyberpunk 2077 when that game was announced, how they showed off just the PC version and not the console version. And when the console version was finally released, that's when CD Projekt Red got a bunch of enormous backlash, as many felt they were kind of misled and lied to, which forced CD Projekt Red to apologize on various reasons, do multiple patches and update to that game though. Game is better now than when it originally launched, but still it left that bitter taste for a lot of folks. It's kind of similar to what I feel about with Stalker 2, to be exact though. It looks impressive, but I would like to see the fact that we haven't seen how the game runs on the Series X and Series S. Kind of worries me a little bit though. So I do have some concerns about the games because I want to know, am I seeing this on the Series X or the Series S? I'm hoping on the Series S or the PC version. So that kind of worries me a little bit. But outside of that, overall, I would say presentation-wise, this was very good. I like how Microsoft handled this presentation with their Developers Direct. I would be down with them doing another Developers Direct, to be exact though. I would like to see more of these kind of approach, similar to what Nintendo does with their Nintendo Directs, to be exact though. I mean, save your inside Xbox stuff for like, big events like say E3 or anything like that, much like how Nintendo does their Treehouse event and everything and all. So, but I will say this was not a bad Direct for what Microsoft did. It didn't have a whole lot of games, but it definitely was a step in the right direction, and I wouldn't mind seeing, Microsoft do more of these Developers Direct in the near future and all. So I would say not a bad start for them doing their own Directs and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final video, and this one has to do with Fox News having a big deal with a certain feature on the Xbox console. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My Two Cent video for this week. And for this one, I'm going to be talking about Xbox and Fox News. Now, before I begin talking about this, I do want to give a bit of a disclaimer to those who are watching this video. This part, though, to be exact. I do want to point out that this segment might contain me pointing out my political views and why I'm not a fan of Fox News in any way. So if you don't want to watch this part, just skip this part if you want to. But for those who are willing to stick around and watch, that's your call and everything like that. So anyway, basically, Fox News is no stranger when it comes to controversy, and the network has been known to say outrageous and idiotic things in the past, though. Okay, and now I'm not saying news media outlets or anything like that are immune to criticism, to be exact. Don't get me wrong. But Fox News, to me, especially for a network that once went around calling themselves fair and balanced, it's a network that likes to go around presenting themselves they're the poster child or golden boy to journalism, when that's not really the case. I mean, for all the claims about them arguing about left-wing media, let's be clear, Fox News does not only the same thing for left-wing media does, but they do it in a way that is slanted towards the right. Basically reinforces how much of a hypocrite the network is really well known for, though. And this one just adds to this, though, this whole argument of them going after Xbox. And while I don't view this in the same controversy as, say, the Dominion voting machines, though, them claiming about a whole voting situation, or COVID, or the January 6th insurrection, though, this just adds to another situation of why I don't trust Fox News, let alone do I buy their woke argument, to be exact, though. In an article posted on Game Rant, it says, quote, Fox News has taken issue with the power-saving change Microsoft has introduced in the latest update for the Xbox Series X and S console. The specific change is referring to has to do with Microsoft's latest initiative to make Xbox the first carbon-aware console. Excuse me. Which includes alternations to how the system manages power consumption and content download to be as optional as it can be while reducing the overall carbon footprint and all. The network has a history of reporting on gaming in a negative light, including, although to be clear though, Fox News isn't the only network that has done this before. We've seen other networks that have reported on gaming sometimes in a negative light. So just to be clear, Fox News isn't the only network and all. Anyway, indicating the claimed connection between video games and violence, even though there are studies that suggest the contrary. If video games are brought up on Fox News, the best case scenario for the coverage is offered it would be perplexed to watch. And again, watching Fox News is always perplexed to begin with in the first place, though. In a clip from the latest episode of Fox and Friends, that Lise Powers shared on Twitter, hosts Jimmy Fallon, and Ashley Earnhardt, if I'm saying the name correctly, have commented on Microsoft's carbon awareness commitment for Xbox. They accused the tech giant of going woke, and that the commitment is employed to recruit kids in climate activism while not actually reducing emission. Earnhardt compared this to gas stoves and coffee, citing Senator Ted Cruz tweeting laments the change. Fallon laughed before making a connection to rebellion by stating how the past being a rebel involved getting a leather jacket and cigarettes. This is opposite now, which Fella says is eating pizza rolls on a gas stove while keeping an Xbox turned on. And just to be clear, a tweet by someone named Liz Power wrote, quote, Fox News is mad that woke Xbox is charging its power save mode. Earnhardt, Xbox has also announced that they're going to woke because of climate change. Falla, F-A-I-L-L-A, they're trying to recruit your kids into climate politics at an early age. Anyway, continue with the article. It says, quote, what makes this accusation funny, not to mention ridiculous, is that while the clip may seem like this is a sudden turn for the tech giant, Microsoft has pledged to be environmentally consistent for years now, and this latest update reads as a minor change that makes Xbox less wasteful when it comes to energy consumption. This is a simple part of a trend on behalf of a company to cut back on emission in a small but meaningful way in household. Not to mention, having this can also might be helpful for your electric bill, to be exact. Anyway, continuing on, this is not to say that there are no meaningful issues to report on. With the announcement of Microsoft is cutting 10,000 jobs by the third quarter of 2023 fiscal year, legitimate grievance can be taken with the company even if those employees are given severance pay. This includes the Xbox division, and if Fox News want to highlight real issues in the gaming industry, they could be a point of discussion regarding how fickle job security can be, which I doubt Fox News will cover that though. So let me get this straight. Fox News is upset over a option on your game console though, particularly the Xbox Series X and S, and yes, even the PS5 has this, an option to not only make it reduce your carbon footprint, but also basically it also can be useful in case if you want to try to keep your electric bill under control. And it just to me blows my mind at just how idiotic and ridiculous Fox News can be. And they have a history of being idiotic and ridiculous and all. I mean, the fact of the matter is, what is wrong with having an option to be able to basically help save on your electric bill, to be exact, though? I don't think there's anything wrong with this. And the fact that you could just turn this on and off is no problem at all. And don't get me started with the woke card. I mean, I'm sorry, but I've learned over the years how people have played that card along with the SJW, feminazi, cancel culture, and culture war cards as being utterly ridiculous. Those who play that card have absolutely no argument to make whatsoever. To me, those who play that card are just as bad, and I know this will be controversial to some folks out there, but those who play that card are just as bad as those who play the race card in situations that isn't racism. So I just don't buy this woke argument, just like I don't buy the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis' argument of using woke as an excuse to not teach about African American history in the state of Florida, to be exact though. This is many reasons why I don't trust Fox News though, okay? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the news media doesn't have its share of criticism, but Fox News should not, because like I said, should not paint themselves as the poster boy or anything like that though. I mean, it's just more reasons why I don't trust Fox News and all, and this just adds to it. I know some are going to view this as a political statement and all, but I'm going to stand behind what I said no matter what. So overall, this is an idiotic story from Fox News. It's nothing more than just shock value and trying to get attention because they have nothing else to report on. At least that's how I'm seeing it though. And I don't think there's anything wrong to have an option on your game consoles, whether it's the PS5 or the Xbox Series S and X, to be able to turn on an option that not only reduces the carbon footprint though, but may actually also help you if you're trying to save money on your electric bill and trying to keep your electric bill under control and all. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about, Avengers, excuse me, Avengers somewhat shutting down or Crystal Dynamics ending support for the Marvel's Avenger game? Are you kind of surprised by this announcement, or do you feel like the writing was on the wall for this game for a very long time though? What are your thoughts about the 343 industry responding to the fact that they will continue to handle the Halo franchise? Do you think it's the right thing, or do you think that 343 industry needs to have, or Microsoft and 343 industry need to have someone else handle the franchise and have 343 industry handle, like the lore or something else, to be exact though? And do you think there needs to be a major overhaul in terms of how Halo is handling the franchise itself is handled going forward? What are your thoughts about the Xbox developers direct though? Did you watch the developers direct? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was a hit? Do you think it was a miss? And do you think Microsoft should do more of these Nintendo style directs going forward? And last but not least, what are your thoughts on this report from Fox News over the Xbox and their claim that they're making children of America go woke over basically the option of having something that can reduce carbon footprint to basically helping your electric bill. Do you think it's a little bit ridiculous, or do you think do you think Fox News, you just don't think it's a big deal or anything like that? Excuse me. As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I will appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notification of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!